Mahadev Prabhupada ki इसको वृंदावन।
Hare Krishna. So, of course, before I begin the offerings, I just wanted to mention that I printed out the Samadhi bulletin. The bulletin is 4 pages. I'm sorry it's so long. I've never found it possible to be brief. And I put it there, Prabhupada's deity there. So anyone can take one as they come or go. And there are more where they came from. Please read all about what we're doing in Samadhi because Prabhupada is sitting in there. So my offerings will be for Vishnu Vyasa Prabhu and for Kushakrata Prabhu, who have trouble speaking. So, from Vishnu Vyasa Prabhu, dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. In 1973, I have received my name from you, Vishnu Yashadas. I thank you very much for this. Many things have changed, but your lotus feet have remained unchangeably merciful. Many devotees have come and many have left the material world. It is my strongest desire to never leave your lotus feet. Dear Srila Prabhupada, maybe it is my false ego, but it is not possible for me to pay my obeisances to anyone else except your divine grace. Please excuse my arrogance, but you are everything to me. Father, teacher, friend, and Diksha as well as Diksha Guru. You are all in one person. All in one. No other person is for me more interesting, more attractive, and more worshipable than you. You are free from mistakes and honest. Gratitude is the key to humility. Srila Prabhupada, I am not at all humble, but I would like to express my greatest gratitude to you. Thank you very much for your merciful, helping hand to this drowning soul in the ocean of material existence. Your monkey disciple, Vishnu Yashadas. He's sitting there in a black t-shirt and usually sits under the cool tree eating mountains of Mahaprasad. The next item is from Kushakrata Prabhu. He has written several poems about Srila Prabhupada. So he wrote this one. He didn't want to give me his original copy, so he wrote this copy, and I made him sign it. So now I have an original Kushakrata poem signed. I didn't know I was going to get such a bonus. So the poem is like this, from Kushakrata Prabhu. Falling like a stick on the ground, to Srila Prabhupada I humbly bow. I fell in an abyss, he pulled me out. He rescued me when I had almost drowned. By Maya I was bound, he made me unbound. He made me in the seed of bhakti sprout. He crushed into fine dust my every doubt. He killed the Maya snake around me wound. He saved me from a future dark and grim. He placed me near Sri Krishna's lotus feet. He showed me Krishna Chandra of lotus limb. He gave me Krishna's leftovers to eat. He made me in the bhakti ocean swim. He rescued me. That was no easy feat. Hare Krishna.
Great. Thank you very much, Mother Prabhupada.
Gargamuni Prabhu.
Everybody here, thank you for inviting me. I always like to speak on these days. I remember when we celebrated Vyasa Puja Day with Srila Prabhupada. That was a very difficult time for me because we'd have to stand in front of Prabhupada and offer while Prabhupada is sitting on the Vyasasana the realization and glory of Srila Prabhupada. And to say all of these emotional things in front of Prabhupada sometimes became very emotional. I remember here in Vrindavan, when Prabhupada was sitting here, I had the opportunity to glorify Srila Prabhupada in front of his God brothers, where I employed them to join with Srila Prabhupada and recognize him as the Acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya and fulfill the desires of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in spreading unitedly the Krishna conscious movement throughout the world. Again in Mayapur, I also had the opportunity in front of Srila Prabhupada to offer my offerings, my personal realizations, and Prabhupada appreciated them. I also recently listened to a lecture that Prabhupada himself gave on Vyasa Puja, explaining the meaning of Vyasa Puja. That is not a sentimental day for glorifying a certain person, but rather we are glorifying the seat of Vyasa. And then I also remember how in Bombay that Prabhupada mentioned that one who is the representative of Vyasa, he also prepares books and publications for the benefit of the less intelligent class. As Vyasa, we all know, he prepared the Vedas for the women class and the Sudras. And in Bombay, I remember one gentleman said to Prabhupada, "You are the true representative of Vyasa because you have prepared the Vedas for the Yavanas and the Malekshas in this age of Kali." And actually, we have seen that in Prabhupada's day, when he was physically present, there were over 700, 800 translations of Bhagavad Gita, and every one of them missed the point of Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Prabhupada, he presented the first translation of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And so he is truly the representative of Vyasa. At my sannyas ceremony, Prabhupada also said that one who sits on the Vyasasana, he should not sit there as a rubber stamp, but he must truly be the representative of Vyasa. That's why I never sit on a Vyasasana, because I don't feel myself qualified to do that. And in this way, Prabhupada in his lecture glorified the seat of Vyasa rather than glorify himself. That is a pure glorification for the activities in his life that he accomplished in 10 short years. Even one philosopher from England remarked that what Prabhupada accomplished in that 10 or 12 years that he was with us has never been accomplished by any other religionist in the whole world in the modern and ancient histories. Even Christianity, the spread of Christianity took over 300 years to be accomplished. And here, We have Prabhupada bringing a totally different new type of philosophy, culture, language to the Western countries, and within 10 years, he was able to implant this movement as a major religious movement of the age. This has never been accomplished. Jesus Christ couldn't do it. Muhammad couldn't do it. No one could do it. Even many Indians glorify Vivekananda for going to America in the 1800s, but even he couldn't implant and make devotees, as Prabhupada has done all over the world. Even Vivekananda, he became a Westerner, so to speak, of trying to spread Indian culture and Bhakti Yoga. He himself adopted the techniques of eating chicken and beef, whereas Prabhupada wouldn't even take off his sannyas dress when he was invited by Swami Nikhilananda of the Ram Krishna Mission to a cocktail party for all these swamis and yogis in 1965. When Prabhupada first went, he was invited by all the uptown swamis, headed by Swami Nikhilananda of the Ram Krishna Mission, and they were all wearing their suits and ties. Of course, all the gatherers at the function were mostly widows. And Swami Nikhilananda mentioned to Prabhupada, because he was the new man on the block, so to speak, that Swamiji, you don't wear these kind of clothes here. The widows, they don't like this. You wear the suit and the tie, you learn to play piano, and I will fix you up with a very nice rich widow. And then you will have all the money you need, and you rent a nice building in Upper Manhattan, and you'll have everything. But Prabhupada was not interested in this. He had not sacrificed his life and on the order of his Guru Maharaj at the age of 70, over 35 years of preparation, to simply come to New York City to find a wife. So Prabhupada remained sincere to his mission, and he stayed downtown with all the derelicts, the revolutionaries, such as myself, the intellectuals, like Kirtanananda and Hari Griva, and was preaching to these type of people. Because Prabhupada himself was a revolutionary. What he taught, what he did, how he acted. And when I first met him in 1965, in September, it was an unbelievable experience for me, because here I saw this small, charming, elderly-looking, yet aristocratic gentleman sitting on the floor with a very big golden aura. That was my first recollection of Srila Prabhupada. He had this aura, and he was the most animated person I had ever met. He was so charming. If you ask any devotees who sat with Prabhupada in his room, you would also see the same, they will tell you the same thing, that Prabhupada was the type of personality that you couldn't take your eyes off of him. It was almost like you were embarrassed because you would stare at him. He had these transcendental qualities that you would just simply be satisfied at looking at that person, at him. And yet you felt embarrassed because you were actually staring at him. He was so of what he spoke. For myself, I was only 17 years old. I was the first Guru Kuli. He was the first teacher. And I would come to class every morning at 7 o'clock with my notebook and write notes, because he never said lectures. He said class. And I would diligently, there was only in the mornings, maybe 7 or 8 who would come every morning to sit down and hear. And Prabhupada, I always remember that Prabhupada in his own history remarked that he was the most intimate disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta because he enjoyed hearing from Bhaktisiddhanta. Yes, Prabhupada said, my elderly brother has nicely said that was his hobby. Prabhupada called it was his hobby to hear Bhaktisiddhanta. And that was his qualification. And I remember in the beginning, all of us who gathered at 26 2nd Avenue, we simply wanted to hear what this sage who came from India at the age of 70, what he was saying. And we were very diligent in trying to hear Prabhupada. We all had little notebooks, and one day Prabhupada asked me, I want to see your notebook. And I go, oh, no, I was very embarrassed. Because sometimes I would doodle in those notebooks. I would also take pictures of Prabhupada and put them in the notebook with the quotations that Prabhupada had, which Prabhupada spoke. And so Prabhupada took my notebook for 2 or 3 days. And then on the 3rd day, he gave it back to me, and I was so nervous that he would say something. He said, very good. This is very good. So we looked at Prabhupada as a teacher, and we were his students. That's how it was in the beginning. And therefore, the qualification, I just wanted to show how Prabhupada was glorifying his Bhaktisiddhanta by saying his hobby was to hear. That is the only qualification that I may have, is that I enjoy to hear Srila Prabhupada. And after 40 years, almost 40 years, we have seen that the hearing is very important. I appreciate it now more and more. And we have now put all of Prabhupada's lectures for TV in a multimedia fashion. So anyone in the world now can take a DVD of Prabhupada's lecture and put it on the TV and hear the pure devotee. Because hearing, even though Prabhupada is not physically present, the hearing is transcendental. And he is the pure devotee. He is the representative of Vyasa. He's done the same activities of Vyasa. And therefore, we are begging all devotees, no matter what sampradaya or what guru, to simply enjoy these wonderful lectures and explanations of the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, that Prabhupada diligently left behind. He was very adamant in that these lectures would be recorded. In fact, that was my first service, that my brother would carry the 30-pound tape recorder downstairs, and I would set up the tape, because it was one of these huge reel-to-reel tapes, and I would write on the box the verse and the chapter of Bhagavad Gita or Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I would write on the back of the box the date, and then Prabhupada would lecture, and even sometimes the tape would run out. Prabhupada would stop lecturing and wait for me to flip the side of the tape. That's how important Prabhupada felt that these tapes, because he knew by simply these boys hearing, they will become purified. Even though we had no qualification, we are weed eaters, beef eaters, rapists, drug users, I mean the lowest of the low, and still we had a desire to sit down and hear Prabhupada because he made it attractive. And therefore, me and Brahmananda, we like to emphasize not only the Vani, but the Bhakti. Because the Vani, Krishna's Vani, has been here for 5,000 years. But very little of us have become attracted by that Vani. But it became attractive when Prabhupada came to offer it to us. Then we became interested. So that is Bhakti. So I always emphasize Bhakti more than Vani because that is the attractive feature that brought me to Krishna conscious, and it can still bring others to Krishna conscious by seeing the photos of Prabhupada, by seeing the videos of Prabhupada, by hearing his lectures, by reading his letters. These are all transcendental and eternal. You see? Some people say otherwise, that the letters are meant for a certain time and place, but that is not true. Whatever Prabhupada did is eternal. And whatever he wrote is, what he wrote in 1970 is still good for 2050. It is transcendental. So we invite everybody to partake of Prabhupada's mercy, and this is the reason why I'm still here. It is simply not by my knowledge or understanding, it's simply by Prabhupada's mercy after 40 years. Thank you very much.
Hare Prabhupada, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharane, Nirvishesha, Vrindavan, Konstrukta Deshapara.
Brahmananda Prabhu.
In 1966, we didn't have Vyasa Puja. I was initiated actually on Radhastami in 1966. We just had John Masri Radhastami. 1967, we had the first Vyasa Puja ceremony. Prabhupada was here in Vrindavan that time. He had gotten very sick. He had a stroke in May of 67. And Prabhupada returned to Vrindavan in July. But Prabhupada said we could observe the Vyasa Puja so that was 1967, then 1968. Then I had mentioned to Prabhupada that devotees were writing their offerings. And Prabhupada indicated to me that we could gather these offerings and make a booklet of them. So the first Vyasa Puja book he made in 1969, and I want to read my offering. Very short. The Vyasa Puja, I never realized. I always thought Vyasa Puja, the day after Janmashtami, was the official day for Vyasa Puja. Just like this, Vyasa Puja is actually we are worshiping Vyasa Day, who is Krishna, literary incarnation of Krishna, who is giving all the Vedic literature, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. The speaker, Prabhupada, the speaker. So I always thought for many years that Vyasa Puja, it's the official day, the day after Janmashtami, and of course that's the day we recognize the spiritual master, who's the representative of Srila Vyasa. That we're not worshiping Srila Prabhupada, recognizing his appearance. Vyasa Puja, the day after Janmashtami, day that Srila Prabhupada actually appeared. He was born. Prabhupada just indicated it very briefly. If you see his Vyasa Puja lectures, it was his first time was in Hamburg in, I think, 1969. He just mentioned that it is by great fortune that I was born on this day. And this day is actually, it's the Nandotsava. It's actually the second Janmashtami. Krishna has two Janmashtami's. The first is when he appears to Devaki and Vasudeva in the prison cell. But then, the following morning, Krishna was taken to Nanda Yashoda in Vrindavan. And that is his second Janmashtami. And actually that's the real Janmashtami, because Krishna appearing in Vrindavan, not in a prison cell, but in the house of Nanda Yashoda. Actually one Brahmin came to Nanda, everyone was coming to congratulate him on the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this Brahmin gave an offering that scholars may read the Vedas and they may read so many Vedic literatures, and but I don't care for that. I don't care for all the Vedic literature. I have come here to worship Nanda Maharaj. Why? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is crawling in his courtyard. So, this is the day of Krishna's appearance. And Prabhupada says, by great fortune, I was born on this day. Therefore, Prabhupada was given by his family, he was given the nickname Nandu. They called him Nandu, because he appeared on the Nandotsava. So this is the day Prabhupada said to actually celebrate. Prabhupada considered the prasadam that was being distributed. This is the prasadam of Nandotsava, the festival of Nanda Maharaj, welcoming Krishna into his household. Actually, Prabhupada even joked that Nanda Maharaj was elderly. So people were saying, you know, how can you have a child? You're an old man. Nanda said, I'm not old man. I'm a young man. So Prabhupada appeared on this day. This is the day for glorifying Krishna. So what better day to appear? And of course, this was Prabhupada's vision, to glorify Krishna his entire life. I once asked the Tamal Krishna Goswami, he was writing a thesis on Srila Prabhupada, his contribution I asked him, which deity did Prabhupada take inspiration from for establishing all the deities in the world that he established? Which deity? Which was the prime inspiration deity? Mahakrishna said, London Ishwara. Because the London Ishwara was the first large deity, marble deity that Prabhupada established. No, the answer, Purja Prabhupada said, is Radha Govinda, Muluk Temple in Calcutta. Prabhupada said that the inspiration I got from that deity has inspired me to do all establish deities all over the world. So this is very interesting because Radha Govinda in Calcutta, Prabhupada was worshipping as a small child, 2 years old, 3 years old. He was to stand before the deity, he had to hold on to his father's leg for support. And he was standing there. He said, I used to gaze upon the deity for hours together. So Prabhupada exhibited devotionals even before meeting his, generally, one is inspired by his spiritual master, by meeting his spiritual master. But Prabhupada was exhibiting devotional symptoms practically from birth. Actually from birth, to be born on Nandotsava, that's not devotional. So even from birth, so Prabhupada said it's by great fortune, but we don't consider it simply some accident or coincidence, but actually it is a plan. Krishna sending his representative into this world. And therefore we worship Srila Prabhupada. Now I can say I worship Srila Prabhupada more than Krishna. Why? Because Krishna didn't come to the Lower East Side and save me. Srila Prabhupada came to New York City, the Lower East Side. And he had undergone the ultimate sacrifice in order to come. Practically giving up his life to come on the ship. In this way, actually, Prabhupada suffered. Sometimes the devotees say, oh, we shouldn't say pure devotee, he doesn't suffer. No, the pure devotee does suffer in order to preach, in order to give Krishna consciousness. That it is for its greatness. Who is willing to voluntarily accept suffering just in order to preach Krishna consciousness? Who else we have? but for love of God, to accept suffering. And not only to love of God, but to distribute God consciousness to others who may not even appreciate, who may not even accept. Who knows what the result is going to be? If by reading this book one person can become a pure devotee of the Lord, I will consider this endeavor. Recently I saw this film, this movie on Jesus Christ. And the film is it's called The Passion of Jesus. Passion in Christian religion means suffering. So the film is the suffering of Jesus. And that's the film, that's all it shows of how Christ suffered. So from seeing that film, I could appreciate how Srila Prabhupada suffered. I personally saw in 1967, Prabhupada had a stroke. I came into his room and Prabhupada was completely paralyzed on one half of his body. I don't remember left or right. Left. He couldn't see in the left eye. He couldn't move the left arm. He couldn't move the left leg. Just slumped over. It's a long story what happened. Ultimately, Prabhupada came back to Vrindavan. He didn't accept any medical cures or attention. I even brought him to the hospital. He rejected it. He didn't know what to do. So Prabhupada came to Vrindavan and then stayed for 6 months. Then he came back to America in December and completely cured, like resurrected. He was on the point of death. You know, stroke, people have stroke, they get permanent effects. Stroke means the blood, it doesn't go to the brain. People get brain damage. Stroke is not the heart. Stroke is actually the brain. We thought it was a heart attack. We didn't know what it was. But Srila Prabhupada had no effect from this. Absolutely no effect. It was amazing. The doctors, other times Prabhupada also became very ill. Also here in Vrindavan. I think it was 1975, 74. And the doctors, I called every doctor we could find in Vrindavan. Ayurveda, herbalist, homeopath. And no one, they couldn't even diagnose. There was something about Prabhupada's body that even confounded the medical community. Not one could even diagnose, what to speak of treat. They were thinking this or that or this or that, but nobody knew, and they admitted it. So we have to understand Prabhupada's, his transcendental, he even embodied. His body has to be transcendental because his birth was transcendental. Everything was transcendental. So therefore, if we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada as our Shiksha Guru, following his instructions, worshiping his instructions, we'll be successful in our spiritual life. Because that is his mission. His mission is just become Krishna conscious and go back to Krishna. So I just wanted to remind, so in 1969 we published the first Vyasa Puja book. There were about 13 temples. Burijan, you were there. There were about 13 temples. So no one can claim to have wasted years wandering after such dirty things as I. No one else's mind is so easily attracted by the promise of sense indulgence. No one is forgetful as I. Yet, His divine grace has accepted me as a servant. Not even my mother has given me Krishna's holy name to always chant, nor has my father taught me who I am, what the purpose of life is, and who God is. His divine grace has enlisted me in the transcendental loving service to Krishna instead of the service to Maya. No one else in the world could have done this. That is a fact. Therefore, I pray to the mercy of Lord Nityananda that I may spend every remaining moment of this life informing everyone I meet that His divine grace meets all the requirements stated by scriptures and by great authorities to be the spiritual master of every living entity in the universe. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men will follow in his footsteps. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Srila Prabhupada ki! Srila Prabhupada ki! Srila Prabhupada ki!
And I pray for their mercy that I
Manjari
may
Mate.
properly glorify Srila Prabhupada. I wanted to tell Gargamuni. Hey Gargamuni, there's one thing that Govinda Das, he said, you're talking about Radha Govinda. Srila Prabhupada said that he was always seeing the eyes of a Govinda Dev. Govinda Das told me this. He would remark to her over and over, I'm always seeing the eyes of this deity, Radha Govinda. And there was another thing Brahmananda was saying, reminded me that there's a shloka that I don't know in Sanskrit that said that there are three things that don't need to be installed. One is the Ganga, one is Shalabhashila, and the other is the Mahabhagavad. So Mahabhagavad from the moment of his birth is transcendental, like this is Srila Prabhupada. I recently have had the good fortune of working on a book that was compiled by Mula Prakriti, our late god sister. This is a book, it's called Our Srila Prabhupada, A Friend to All. It's a book of interviews with people who knew Srila Prabhupada before he went to the West. Mula Prakriti was here last year and she spoke about this book. It's about to be another couple of weeks before it's published, but very soon. I want to tell you how the interviews that are in this book have opened for me a new world as to how I see Srila Prabhupada's life before he went to the West. It's just remarkable to understand that Srila Prabhupada was not alone. Srila Prabhupada had many close friends and associates. He was loved. Here in Vrindavan, or not only here in Vrindavan, but amongst the devotee community and amongst the general community here in Vrindavan, he was recognized as an advanced devotee and an accomplished scholar. And also Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, on many occasions, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta singled Srila Prabhupada out for instruction and also to give him orders. On many occasions, Srila Prabhupada was asked by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta indicated that it would be Srila Prabhupada who would go to the West. One thing that we may not know is that in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's time, this was all his disciples knew that it was a very strong desire of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta to go to the West and to preach in the West. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had ordered him, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's mother, as her dying wish, she reminded Srila Bhaktisiddhanta that he was to do this under the order of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he wanted it very much. And he sent, before Srila Prabhupada went, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta sent two parties. One party of 3 people, and then later another party of 1 person to go and preach in the West, but they weren't successful. And it was Srila Prabhupada, and this was indicated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta that Prabhupada would be the one on quite a few occasions. Now, it's the amazing thing that it is the same qualities that have attracted us to Srila Prabhupada, attracted other people to Srila Prabhupada also. And he engendered loving respect from so many different groups of people. One thing that it's like it comes up over and over in the book, that Srila Prabhupada was completely devoted to the order and the mission of his Guru Maharaj. He had great focus and determination. There's Madhav Das Baba, who is at Madhav Mohan Temple. He was saying that when Srila Prabhupada's first time coming to Vrindavan, he didn't know anybody. This was before he was initiated. And he stayed at the Madhav Mohan up on the hill. And the Babaji there said that it was very interesting. And it was so interesting that he remembered so many years later. He said this person had such single-minded focus. At that time, Srila Prabhupada, he stayed 1 or 2 weeks. He chanted Harinam. And he stayed on the hill. He said that he did not leave the hill one time. He did not go for parikrama. He did not go shopping. He did not go to different darshans. He just stayed on the hill and he chanted Harinam. And sometimes he would be chanting in his house. And when he was chanting, he didn't look at anyone. He was simply enraptured. And he said that he would sometimes go to the hill and he would look out and he would chant. But otherwise he just stayed. So Prabhupada had complete focus. Hirananda Babaji, who lived next to Prabhupada at Radha Damodar, he talks about the sadhana that Srila Prabhupada performed. He was saying that to do what Srila Prabhupada had done required such strong sadhana. Prabhupada exhibited this. There was many of the devotees, they spoke about Srila Prabhupada chanting 1,00,000 a day. This was the order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And Srila Prabhupada, from the beginning, he was following this order even before he was initiated. He studied, they also recall how he studied and he wrote constantly. And so many, the funny thing is, there are so many Sanskrit scholars here in Vrindavan, and they all feel that they're very much a part of Srila Prabhupada's writing the Srimad Bhagavatam, because Prabhupada would go and study with him. And each one kind of feels that Srila Prabhupada was studying with him exclusively. But actually Srila Prabhupada went to many Sanskrit scholars here in Vrindavan, and he worked with them. Nirmocha, the Mahanta Brahma Namadar, he was saying that Prabhupada was so scholarly, that Prabhupada, whenever he was walking, or eating, or even sleeping, if a verse came to mind, he would immediately get up and write it down. Pariyata explained, and so many devotees explained, or kind of appreciated how Srila Prabhupada has fulfilled the Manubhishta of his Guru Maharaj and also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they quote this verse, Prithvite ache yatanara radigram, sarvatra prachara hoye mora naam. In as many towns and villages as there are on the surface of this earth, my holy name will be preached. Now, it's interesting because we're the product of, the Westerners. We're the product of that. But for them, they knew this prediction of Lord Chaitanya was there, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta was working to accomplish it. And so then, imagine, when they saw that Prabhupada actually accomplished it, then it was just such a glorious thing. And so another thing, that Prabhupada was always trying to organize preaching programs. Like Govinda Maharaj speaks about this quite a bit. When Prabhupada in Calcutta, Delhi, wherever he was, in Allahabad, in Bombay, he was always preaching. When Srila Prabhupada took sannyas, right after he took sannyas, he and a group of devotees went to Agra for preaching. And Srila Prabhupada initiated several disciples at that time. And then afterwards, when they came back to Mathura, Keshav Maharaj said, "Oh, you've initiated some disciples." He was a little surprised. And Prabhupada said, "Yes, when one becomes the father of humanity, then he should have children." And so, in this way, Prabhupada was like with great determination and enthusiasm his whole life, trying to spread Krishna consciousness. And then when he we as his disciples, there are two things. We are endeavoring to help Srila Prabhupada in his mission. And this is our seva, this is Guru Seva. But there's another thing. In addition, we have to try to also have it. Srila Prabhupada was preaching Krishna consciousness. And we, in order to serve our spiritual master, we won't be successful unless we also practice it. In this connection, I was recently reading this verse, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavatam. Maybe it's common knowledge to many of you. But that Srila Prabhupada based the International Society for Krishna Consciousness on this verse. I'll read the translation for this. It's Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavatam Priyatam, and that means absorption in Krishna Bhakti Rasa, or pure devotional service, Krishna consciousness. Kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate. If it is available anywhere, let it be purchased immediately. Tatra loyam api mulyam labhyate. But intense greed is the only price to obtain it. Janma koti sufiter na labhyate. It cannot be attained by millions of births of pious activities. So this verse, which is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when it's in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Ramananda Roy, when Ramananda Roy is speaking about prema bhakti, and then it's divided into Vaidhi bhakti and Rav Marg. So this is the verse for Rav Marg. So this is the verse that Srila Prabhupada based his name of his society on. And you see it's better understood in Hindi. It's Antarashtriya Krishna Balaram Sangha. And so this verse is from Rupa Goswami. And we are Rupa Nugas. We're the followers of Rupa Goswami. And so Srila Prabhupada was talking about that if you want this Krishna consciousness, what is the price that you have to pay? It's loyam. It's this intense eagerness. And this is the intense eagerness that Srila Prabhupada exhibited in his life. And then he says, you might say, eagerness. Well, I have eagerness. He says, but it's not so easy. This eagerness is not obtained after millions of Janma Koti, millions of births of pious activities. Then how is this lowliam obtained? If pious activities can't get you there, how is it attained? Prabhupada says it's attained by sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha. And then I think Prakramani or Ramananda was saying how Prabhupada was saying how his qualification was that he liked to hear. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta came to speak, he wanted to hear. At that time they were in, Kochi. Yeah, they were in Kochi, and they had a chance to go on parikrama, or to stay and hear Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And so there were most of the people went on parikrama, about 10 or 12 stayed. And Prabhupada said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta marked that. And so,
later on, when Bhaktisiddhanta came to Allahabad, suggested that Prabhupada should initiate, and asked Bhaktisiddhanta said, yes, I have marked it, he likes to hear.
yeah.
It was from that.
Okay, I'll repeat what Ramananda Prabhu said. After they left here, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada and many of the devotees went to Allahabad. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada was formally introduced by one of the devotees to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and that he would like to take initiation. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said at that time, he said, yes, I have marked him. He likes to hear. And he was very pleased. So the point is that sadhu sangha is so valuable. And what is holding us back? The only thing that's holding us back is aparad. There are many different types of aparad: seva aparad, vaishnava aparad, nama aparad. In the book, Srila Puri Maharaj speaks very humbly and beautifully about this in relation, and also Jita Krishna Prabhu. There are a couple of interviews. These devotees are speaking about mistakes that they made in relation to Srila Prabhupada and how they learned from these mistakes. And like Srila Prabhupada in so many different ways. And each person, we are all trying to glorify Srila Prabhupada according Prabhupada Sarti. Jai Vachakam Jai Krishna Balaram Jai Patipanam.
This is the first one. They split it to हमारा भाई
Hare Namaste, Vrindavan.
This place called Siam Ban. A special place. It's in between Siam Kun. This is a place of Ratnakun. This is between
Kusum
Kusam Sarovar and Govardhan. Very exclusive place. Need to go for special gullies and the forest, like 1 kilometer inside. It's in this main in the top of the Govardhan.
Yes.
This is also another place, very secret place.
Oh là là.